Let's get one thing straight. Every man you admire has failed first. You carry this football royalty name. You carry that Manning name, and that comes with so much pressure because there's been so much success from your grandfather to both your uncles. But here's the thing. They started out failing. They did not jump right into success. And I know you're going through it right now. You're going through your season of failure. And here's the thing. Failure and success are not opposites. Failure is actually the entrance fee to success. And you're paying that price right now. And I can tell you one thing, you're going to get through it. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you some tips on how you're going to get through it. But I need you to know that mindset right now is, yes, you're carrying that legacy, that burden of that Manning royalty name. But I'm going to help you shift away and downplay some of that so you can figure out who you are and then push through this season of failure, because I guarantee there's success along the way. By the way, I'm Trey Tucker. I'm a mental health therapist, and this is Rugged, where we're making your 20s and 30s legendary. And we're kicking off this series called Boys to Mentors. And today I'm talking as if I were talking to Arch Manning, because he's been going through it in this first season where it hadn't gone like he thought it should go. And a lot of other people had that same expectations of immediate success, and it's just not realistic. So I'm going to mentor him, and through it, you can see hopefully some tactics and some traits and some strategies that you would want to take from a mentor yourself. All right, so let's talk about all your family members who are known for playing quarterback. Let's start with your grandfather, Archie. Legend for the Saints. Everybody loves him. But what a lot of people don't know is that he never had a winning season in the NFL. But still, he went on to create this legacy. I mean, he is the foundation for that Manning quarterback royalty name. So look, the failure was just part of the process. It had to come first. And then because of that failure, he developed some really internal toughness to set the stage for your uncles and now for you. So never having a winning season in the NFL and still being considered a legend, I mean, we can handle that kind of failure when it turns into that kind of success. All right, let's take Peyton. His first season as a rookie in the NFL was a disaster. I mean, people were labeling him a bust. He was throwing, I think he threw more interceptions than touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. But everybody was wondering, like, because he came out of the college draft into the NFL, and he was like a top prospect, but that first season was a disaster. People were wondering, like, hey, what's the deal here? This guy was supposed to be like the man. He was supposed to be him. He wasn't that rookie year, but he persevered, and we know the rest of the story. He's won multiple Super Bowls. He's an NFL Hall of Famer. I mean, just probably maybe the most recognized quarterback maybe ever. And then Eli, your other uncle, he won 2 Super Bowls, but before he did that, because he won them later in his career, the whole main first part of his career, he was known as a choker, as a guy that just couldn't win the big one. He was always in Peyton's shadow, and everybody thought, well, he's pretty good, but he'll never be Peyton. And then all of a sudden, he comes on the scene later in his career to win 2 Super Bowls. So you've got this pattern set up before you. The pattern is fail first and then forge through to success. And you're not only forging through, but you're being forged. And I can see it in your body language, because that's what therapists do. We read body language. I can see it in your eyes. You've got that dog in you. And every time something doesn't go your way, I watch you on the sidelines, and yeah, you're discouraged, but you're not disheartened. You got that fire in your eyes about, like, okay, I'm upset about it, and I can tell you're already focusing on the next play. Talking to teammates, talking to coaches. You never sit over there and isolate. So because of that habit already, I can guarantee you are already building so much toughness and so much resilience, and you're just building on that foundation of that resilience and toughness that's already been set before you. So I know you're going to make it. And that's the thing. I'm going to help you zoom out to see, like, all right, if somebody could guarantee that you were going to have success down the road, how would you want to handle this short period of time of failure? And as best as I can tell, you've got what it takes. You've got the physical tools, you got the mental tools, you got the mentors in your grandfather and your uncles and even your dad. They've all shown you how to conduct yourself on the field, off the field, the right mindset. So you're going to make it. You just got to make it through this short-term early failure, because that's the price to pay. But man, because you're paying that price now, that's going to make everything else that you go through, it's going to make it easy. Like any other challenge that you got on the field, it's going to seem like nothing compared to what you're going through now. So you're going to laugh in the face of whatever the field throws at you, whatever your opponents throw at you, or if you're in a slump in the future, you'll just be like, I've been here, done that. I know I'm going to make it through because, shoot, look what happened in my first season as a starter. So this is setting the stage to make everything else seem pretty dang manageable. So the goal here is that we're actually seeking failure. I know it sounds weird, but that's what we're seeking, because the quicker we get through the failure, the quicker we get to the success. So when I say failure, I mean even little tiny things that don't go exactly how you want. Maybe you misread a route or something along the line. Like, that's a little tiny failure that then we can take that to then fall forward. Because I see it. You've got that intensity. You're going to keep going forward in the face of the failure. So think of failure as speed bumps. All right, so I have this favorite restaurant that I go to in town, and like, they've got the best burgers I've ever had. So anytime I'm going there, I can't wait to get there. And I know I'm going to get there, but as I'm approaching the restaurant, I can literally see the restaurant, but I'm having to drive over speed bumps. And those speed bumps piss me off so bad because they're keeping me from getting to the destination I want to get to. So I've got to deal with the speed bumps, but I know I'm still on the way to where I want to be. I know I'm going to get to the restaurant. I just got to navigate the bumps, and I got to keep on going over them and falling forward off the bump and using that to project me even forward with the momentum. And that's what I want you to think of as with your failures. You know you're going to have success. You are going to get there. You're just getting these speed bumps out of the way. And then the next time the bumps come, you're going to already know what to do with them. They're not going to seem as big in the future. But in your mind, you know you're on a destination. You're on a path, and there is a destination that you want to be at, and you're going to get there. You just got to have the right mindset as you navigate some of these speed bumps. So falling forward has some psychological angles to it. One of them is, I want you to think of failure, treat failure as an experiment. So if something doesn't go right on the field, the natural instinct for a lot of us is like, all right, what's wrong with me? I suck. I can't do this. Like, those are pretty natural ways of like talking to ourselves when something doesn't go our way. But I want you to flip that. Notice that maybe if those thoughts are happening, notice those for sure. Acknowledge that they're in there, because those aren't really you. That's a part inside you that's actually trying to be helpful, but we'll get into that later. But they're not, those thoughts are not you. I want you to change the channel into the thoughts of like, okay, this thing didn't go as I thought it would, so let's think of it as an experiment. All right. So failure is not like a destiny. It's data. It's just data. It's just information. All right. This didn't go the way I thought. What can I adjust from here? So treat the failure as an experiment, and then have some self-compassion. So that whole voice that's telling you like, oh no, I can't do this. Like, that's a part inside you that's just trying to keep us from getting embarrassed. And it's not really what we really think. It's just that part thinks that embarrassment might literally be like catastrophic and like the end of the world. So just acknowledge like that voice is in there, but that's not really you having those thoughts. It's just that part that's sending those thoughts up to you. So have some compassion on that part that lives inside. Like, hey, thanks for trying to help me. I get it. The embarrassment, even if it does happen, it ain't gonna be that bad. We got the next play coming, the next game coming. So have some compassion on yourself and on those thoughts, because if you try to smush those thoughts down, that might work for a little bit, but they're going to come roaring back because, again, they think they're being helpful and they think you're not listening. So they're going to try to make themselves known and really get you to pay attention so you can avoid what it thinks is going to be catastrophic. So self-compassion, along with treating any kind of failure as just data. This is all just data gathering tools. All right, so I got 3 points of application for you. And yeah, I'm talking to you, but this can apply to anybody who's got a goal that they're persevering through some sort of setback or some sort of failure. So first one is, I want you to reframe your mindset. Similar to what we talked about earlier, instead of saying like, oh no, am I not good enough? Or what are people going to think? I want you to treat those thoughts as like some sort of TV channel that, okay, my brain's on this channel right now of these kind of thoughts, but I want you to flip the channel to what can I adjust? And specifically for this application point, I just want you to pick one or two things. I think for me and a lot of people who have kind of that perfectionistic tendency, we start making this huge list of everything we need to adjust. And then it just gets overwhelming. It's like, it just makes us want to walk away. But Pick one or two main things you want to adjust. So this could be something physical in your delivery. This could be something about your preset reads. This could be something about your pre-game mindset. I don't care, but pick one or two. Keep it simple. Number 2, what's your why? Like, figure out why you're even playing football in the first place. So Deion Sanders recently gave a talk to his team, and I love that they post these talks on social media. And the other day, right before practice, it wasn't even before a game, but right before practice, Deion said, all right, y'all figure out your why. Why are you even playing the game in the first place? Why are you here? And he had a couple players stand up and a couple coaches stand up and talk about their why. One of them talked about like their mother's in the hospital, so they're playing for her. One of them talked about wanting to spread God's presence because he's a believer. And like everybody, you could tell they were starting, if they didn't already know their why, they started to try to at least wrestle with that. And I can tell you this, if your why is something like playing for your own fame or your own glory or whatever, that's not going to work very long. And in your case, Arch, if you're playing just to like carry on the family legacy just because you feel like you're supposed to play because that's your last name and you're actually physically talented at this, that's not going to last either. And you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve. But most importantly, you're not going to be fulfilled. So if we're playing for ourselves or if we're playing because we feel like we're supposed to, like there's some sort of expectation on us that we have to fulfill, that actually won't fulfill us. So find your why and make it something that it aligns with your purpose for even just being on the earth in general. And I know we're getting deep for football here, but this is actually the key to not being so nervous. Because if you can see that football is really just a tool, and the tool allows you to really make the impact that you were put on the earth to make, then a game doesn't carry nearly as much pressure because like this particular game is just one little micro step in this whole grand story of like your purpose and then how your purpose fits into an even greater purpose. Like if your story is all you're living for, then you're going to be unhappy. But if you decide to put your story into this larger story of what's going on in the world and how can I bring the light in me and fight the evil that's in the world, even using football as that tool and having an influence on people because of whatever I do on the field, that's going to lead to true success both on the field and off. And it's going to make you feel more fulfilled and more peaceful. And it's going to make any kind of future failure or disappointment, it's going to give it a better perspective. So it just doesn't seem like such a huge, like colossal end of the world situation. And then finally, I want you to ask your mentors. This series is about mentors, so we're going to wrap it up with this thought, is that you got awesome mentors in your life. Obviously, the 3 you're related to are perfect ones to reach out to, but sometimes our family, I don't know, there's something in us where we can't really be fully ourselves around our family, and so ask your other mentors. You got a good coach in Sarkisian. He's played the game. He calls the plays. Obviously, he's a good mentor, but I would say get somebody who's like totally disconnected from your day-to-day life, somebody who's so objective that they don't know anybody else. They don't know your friends, your teammates, your family. They're your person. This could be a therapist, but this could just be a mentor, somebody that you know and you respect, you admire, but somebody that kind of serves as like your bat cave where you can go talk to them and escape all the other stuff. Because the mentors they're going to be the ones that they can tell us the stories of how they failed and what led to the failure and what they did about it. And I'll tell you this, ask them for their failures, and also ask them what were the things you did wrong even after you failed. Because we can learn so much more from somebody who's failed than somebody who just had this smooth glide into success and like, yeah, I'm so glad I did that. No, like I learned my first job out of college was with a company that was literally failing. It was in the process of going bankrupt, and I was the only new hire in like years. And so I didn't really learn how to run a business successfully, but what I did learn was how not to run a business. And that's been more valuable than anything else because that showed me like the ditches, the landmines to avoid. And if you know what to avoid, a lot of times you can kind of figure out what to do from there. So ask your mentors, lean on them, but specifically ask for their successes. And then remember, you're bigger than just football. Your identity, your value is not in this game. This is just something you do. This is not who you are. Thanks for being here today. Hope this advice has been helpful, not just for anybody in a quarterback or a sports situation, but hopefully any kind of situation where you're really pushing toward a goal. Let's do that together and keep being legends, and I'll see you next time.